بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد inshallah we're continuing with the chapter of how sinfulness can remove barakah from a person, and I thought just to make a quick recap of what is barakah. So does anybody have an idea what barakah is? We use it all the time in our speech, you know, like when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give it to people, and some people complain about not having much of it in their time or in their work. You want to say?
Like from when I was researching, from my understanding, if there was an English or Islamic word for productivity, I would say it's barakah. Okay. So a lot of people say there's no barakah in my time or my sleep. So being able to do something in little time or with little effort, or being able to do a lot in bed, I think that's barakah.
So productivity, she's saying in one definition.
I think in general, barakah, when it applies to money, it makes it seem like it's more. When it's applied to time, it's productivity. When it applies to your child, it makes him a better person. Yeah, so it's an increase or a blessing.
Right, so we're saying an increase, or the English translation they translate many times as blessings. So linguistically, it comes from the word barak al-ba'ir, to when the camel used to sit down, that's the act of barakah they talk about. So they say thabata, to be established in something linguistically. Also has the meaning like zakat too, zakat wan namu, purifying or increasing. So the barakah increases in some stuff, that's the linguistic meaning. And the Islamic meaning, we say it's like blessings. So is it something that you can get physically? Can you see barakah? Can you buy barakah? Can you? No, right? Because it's something that's special from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah, He sends down two types of blessings basically. The physical, in terms of provisions, and sustenance and homes and your family and all these type of things. The physical barakah. The physical, I'm talking about basically provisions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He sends down the spiritual type, which is blessing. You don't physically see it, but it's there. So it's something that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like the Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic hadith, al-barakah min Allah. Barakah or blessings is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He gives it, the other provisions gives to everybody on the earth. The Muslims, the non-Muslims, believers, disbelievers. And the barakah is for those who have faith usually. We can talk maybe what kind of different forms of barakah you can find, if anybody can mention some examples of things that have barakah in them.
Salah, dua, zakat,
So,
paying istikhara.
Worship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Halal income.
Halal income, yeah. Barakah. I'm thinking also of specific points that Allah has mentioned, or the Prophet has mentioned, there's barakah in these things. So what type of time, she said? What kind of time?
Nighttime.
What part of the night time?
Reading Quran.
So the last third of the night has barakah in it. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes down and asks His servants, if you have any questions, to ask of me. So the last third of the night is barakah. What else in time has barakah? The last 10 nights of Ramadan. Or the first 10 days of the Hijjah. These are times. Friday, Jummah.
The first few hours of the day in general.
In the morning, the Prophet said, "Baraka fi ummati fi bukuriha." My ummah was blessed in its earliness. So the morning also has blessings in it. Getting up early and going to do your activities. Ramadan, the times of Hajj, right? So all these are times that have barakah. We don't know exactly the reason why, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put barakah in specific times, and He's given us these gifts to take advantage of, right? And to teach us there's something special that Allah, He chooses what to put barakah in. Okay, so that's time. What else do we have barakah in?
Brother Mullah said suhoor.
What's that?
Suhoor.
Suhoor. Naam. Barakah fi suhoor. suhuri, في سحورنا. There's blessings in our suhoor, eating the early meal.
I said your offspring.
In your offspring, right? Okay. How about places? So we said time, now we say places. No. In Al-Aqsa, may Allah protect it. In Jerusalem, Quds, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is blessed. What else? Mecca and Medina are blessed. The masajid are blessed, they have barakah. Right? Sham, the Prophet ﷺ made dua for Sham, which contains Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan. He also made dua for Yemen. So these are places that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for some wisdom that He knows only best, that He has put barakah in these places. And unfortunately these places are going through much hardship these days. May Allah lift the hardship from the ummah and continue to bless these places. Okay, so how about people? Do people have barakah?
Marriage, he says, if the wife is asking for the dowry, he said the one that asks for the least are the ones with the most barakah.
Yes. So don't get upset, sisters. The brother is saying hadith that أقلهن مؤونة أكثرهن بركة. The woman that asks for not too much mahar or not too much responsibility, she has the most blessings in her marriage. So physically blessed, that's one of the types of people that are blessed, the pious woman. We said the Anbiya, the prophets, of course, they're the most blessed of the people. The Salihin, the pious people are blessed, the righteous are blessed. The awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are blessed. Right, so these are people that are blessed. What about animals? So we said time, we said places, we said people. Now what about animals?
Horses.
Very good, mashallah. The horses are blessed. The Prophet ﷺ said that there's barakah in the forehead of the horses. So the horses have blessing in them. What other animal did the Prophet ﷺ mention that has blessings?
Camels?
Maybe, I'm not sure. But I know for sure the sheep. He said to take the sheep, for in them are blessings. And that's why you can pray in the place where the sheep are kept, but you're not supposed to pray where the camels are kept. Right? So these are some of the animals that the Prophet ﷺ said have blessings in them, horses and sheep. What about food? Dates are blessed, the Prophet ﷺ said. He compared the nakhla to the believer, and he said they have blessings in them.
What is left in your plate? The little.
Yes, the last part of the dish, when you finish that, there's blessings in it. Barakah, the Prophet ﷺ said. What else? Shajaratun Mubarakah, which one is that? In the Quran. Zaytunatun la gharbiyah. The olives have blessing in it. The olive oil, the olive tree. Those are food.
So any fruits that are mentioned in the Quran, so teen, zaytun,
in general,
nakh.
yes. In general, the fruits or the foods that are mentioned in the Quran have blessings in them, inshallah. And there's another hadith, the Prophet mentioned something, if you eat from it, it's a cure for almost all sicknesses except death. Habbal Barakah, right? The black seed, or Habba Soda.
Yes.
So the Habba Soda has Barakah.
How about
Okay.
honey?
Honey, yes. So these are foods that have Barakah. How about drinks? Milk.
Zamzam water.
And you said Zamzam too? Zamzam, yes. Milk and Zamzam. The Prophet ﷺ, he said when he used to eat food, Allahumma barak lana fima razaqtana warzuqna khayran min. Oh Allah, bless us in what you have provided us and give us better. However, when he used to drink the milk, he would say, Allahumma barak lana fima razaqtana wazidna min. Oh Allah, bless us in what you have given us and increase us in it. So these are some of the drinks that have blessings in it. Now Zamzam is the Prophet said, blessed, it's a food and a drink. Abu Dharr al-Ghafari rahimahullah, he was said to stay in Mecca for 30 days drinking only Zamzam, and he said that he got so healthy, overweight from the Zamzam only that he had to he busted his belt basically. He had his clothes won't fit. That's how there's barakah in Zamzam. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah and allows certain people to benefit more from it. Those that have more barakah attain more barakah from these things. You can say something, sorry.
Yeah, in regards to
the hadith is milk in general. But you can see, for example, the newborn babies, they said to have the most growth like physically and mentally, the brain capacity, in those 2 years, and all it's eating is the milk of the mother. So there's barakah in most halib, most milk. And I would, just for health reasons, advise if you can, organic is, I think a little bit better. And if you can get it fresh from your own animals, it's the best. I've tasted fresh milk from cows or fresh milk from camel, and it's a big difference from the one we get in the grocery stores. So, but there is barakah in it. And I know for a fact in certain countries, sometimes they survive only upon the milk of the camels and dates. And they're very strong and very healthy. So there is barakah in these.
And milk is actually, it's the only fluid that has it's like a full meal basically.
Yeah, it has, so the brother is saying that milk is one of the only drinks that has all the requirements you need from food, basically. So it has like a protein, I think a complete protein chains in it. Allah knows best, but it is, something that's, the Prophet ﷺ said has blessings in it. Okay, actions we mentioned, like the suhoor, eating together in jama'ah, spreading the salam, praying the night prayers. You can go and see there's many types of actions that are described that have barakah in them. So if you want to increase your barakah, what are some of the ways you can do it?
Connecting your kin.
What's that?
Connecting with your kin.
Yes, keeping the relationship of the wombs, your family, familiar ties. When you keep the relationship with your family, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless your life, your lifespan, and bless your provision, your rizq. And as the Shaykh said, giving sadaqah is a means to increase your rizq, actually. ما نقص المال صدقة. Like charity never decreases your wealth. It only increases your wealth. So there's barakah in it. What's that? Yeah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases the sadaqah. He grows it. Spiritually, in the Jannah, the rewards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He might take one of your charities that you give, and you find it a mountain of blessings on the Day of Judgment, right? And also they say for curing the sick sometimes, to give sadaqah also. So these are spiritual things that we don't know the exact, secrets behind it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us ways and means to increase our barakah. He says in the Quran, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقَوْا لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. If they believed and had taqwa, we will open the blessings from the sky for them, right? So two of the main points to achieve taqwa, to increase your taqwa, is to have iman. Two of the means to increase your barakah, your blessings, is to have iman and taqwa. The definition of iman, we said, is قول باللسان اعتقاد بالجنان والعمل بالأركان يزيد بالطاعة وينقص بالعصيان. It's saying it with the tongue, believing in the heart, and acting upon it with your outward deeds. It increases with righteousness and it decreases with sin. So if you go and look and study how to increase your iman, that's a ways to increase your barakah, right? If you go and study what the meaning of taqwa is, we said one of the definitions, like Ali radiallahu anhu said, التقوى خوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل والاستعداد ليوم الرحيل. So it's fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and acting upon what He has revealed to you and preparing for the day that you will meet Him, the day that you will depart this earth. That's taqwa. Other scholars say it's to make between you and the sins of waqaya, protection, between you and the hellfire, protection, doing the good and staying away from the evil. That's taqwa. So if you go and study the meanings of taqwa and how to achieve taqwa, those are ways to increase your barakah, right? Also, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever the Quran keeps occupied, Allah will take care of all of his affairs. Right? And shaghala al-Qur'anu an-mas'alati, I gave him whoever keeps him occupied with the Quran over asking for me, I gave him everything he wants, he needs, and more. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you blessings from reading the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, do not make your houses a graveyard. Read the Quran and read Surah Al-Baqarah in it. So the Quran itself is barakah. It increases your barakah. Right? These are ways to achieve more taqwa, more blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, Allah says in the Quran, in Surah An-Nus, استغفر ربكم إنه كان غفارا يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويمددكم بأموال وبنين ويجعل لكم جنات ويجعل لكم أنهارا. Seek forgiveness of your Lord. Forgiveness, asking forgiveness is a way, a means of barakah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will He will send down like the blessings from the sky, increase your wealth and increase your progeny, your offspring. There's a story I heard from a reliable source. There was a couple that they could not have kids. For 10 years they were trying to have kids. And the woman, she came upon this ayah in Surah Nuh. And she said like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give those who make istighfar wealth and progeny. So she started making a lot of istighfar, and she told her husband the same thing, to make a lot of istighfar, day in and day out. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. And subhanAllah, she got pregnant after that. And she had a baby. So there's blessings in barakah and istighfar. Right? So taqwa, iman, Quran, istighfar. See, that's some of the means to achieve taqwa. Also, like we said, giving sadaqah, that increases your barakah. These are the means that achieve barakah, blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spreading the salam, praying the night prayer. All the means you can look and try to research in the Quran and the Sunnah, those things that will increase your blessings, and do them. And the more you do them, the more blessings you have. And the blessing, the barakah, is like a secret from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He puts it in your time, so you will have, more productivity in your time. You can compare people, different people, and see in 1 hour or 1 day or 1 month how much one person can achieve that has barakah in his time compared to another person that doesn't have any barakah. Right? Their productivity is so much higher. The one who has barakah in his money, his wealth, he might have little wealth, but he lives comfortably, he lives peacefully. He doesn't want for anything. And you might find another person that's, multi-millionaire, but there's no barakah in the money, and he doesn't live comfortably. He always has anxiety, he's never, satisfied. Right? So that's a difference. And I've seen that myself. I've seen very rich people, they're still hungry, they're still greedy, they're still not satisfied, they're always chasing after the dollar, they don't have time for their own families, their health sometimes suffers. And I've seen poor people that have little food, little money, but they have a lot of happiness and blessing with their family. They get the little job they have, the little money they make from the job, they go home, they have a beautiful family, and they're happy. Right? No wealth can buy happiness. So that's barakah. That's barakah in the time, barakah in the money. That's what you want to get increase of. Right? So this is, I wanted to touch upon it because it was inspired from the question the brother asked the last halaqah. So for us to think about what barakah is, and that's just a little introduction, inshallah, until we get into this chapter by Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, talking about how sinfulness actually decreases the barakah, or takes it away from a person. So he says, وَمِنْ عُقُوبَاتِهَا أَنَّهَا تَمْحَقُ الْبَرَكَةِ وَبَرَكَةَ الْعُمْرِ وَبَرَكَةَ الرِّزْقِ وَبَرَكَةَ الْعِلْمِ وَبَرَكَةَ الْعَمَلِ وَبَرَكَةَ الطَّاعَةِ. That sinfulness will remove the blessings from the age of the person, his provision, his knowledge, his actions, and his righteousness. So the more a person indulges in sin, the less he will have blessing in his life, in his age. The less he will have blessing in his wealth. The less he will have blessing in his knowledge. The less the blessing will be in his actions, and the less righteousness he will have. وَبِالْجُمْلَةِ تَمْحَقُ بَرَكَةَ الدِّينِ وَالدُّنْيَا. And to summarize, he says, the Imam, that it will take away the barakah of the deen and the dunya. So sinfulness will lead to losing both righteousness and dunya means. فَلَا تَجِدْ أَقَلْ الْبَرَكَةِ فِي عُمْرِهِ وَدِينِهِ وَدُنْيَاهُ مِمَّنْ عَصَى اللَّهِ. So the one who sins against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't find the barakah in his life, in his deen or his dunya, in his religion or his worldly affairs. وَمَحْقَتْ الْبَرَكَةِ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا بِمَعْصِيَةِ الْحَقِّ وَمَا مَحَقَتْ الْبَرَكَةِ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا بِمَعَصِيَةِ الْحَقِّ قال الله تعالى ولو أن أهل القرى آمنوا واتقوا لفتحنا عليهم بركات من السماء والأرض. He's saying that the taking away of barakah in the earth is only done through sinfulness. And if a person, like he quoted the ayat, if those of the account believed in Allah and had taqwa, like we said, Allah would have opened up for them the blessings from the heavens and the earth. So sinfulness prevented these blessings from coming down to these people. وَلَوْ اسْتَقَامُوا عَلَى الطَّرِيقَةِ لَاسْقَيْنَاهُمْ مَاءً غَدَقًا. And if they had become straight on the path, Allah would have sent down upon them the sustaining water. You know? So from their sinfulness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevented them from getting this sustaining water, and they had drought as a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِنَّ الْعَبْدَ لِيُحْرَمَ الرِّزْقَ بِذَنْبِ يُصِيبُهُ. And a person, a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, might be prevented from a provision because of a sin that he did. So sinfulness can prevent actually a rizq. It can decrease your provision. It can do it physically, like we said, or in the spiritual sense, like you won't have blessings in the money. You know, like they say, the ones who sleep through Fajr and don't pray Fajr on time, they lose the blessing of the morning, lose the blessing of the day. So they might get the same, paycheck at the end of the week. However, there's no blessing in that money. Like the money gets gone without, he doesn't know how it got gone, how it went away, right? And a person that gets up and prays Qiyam al-Layl, for example, prays the Fajr, goes to work, he has less sleep, but more barakah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, blesses his money, that same paycheck, but he gets a lot more blessings from it, right? This is from the secrets of barakah. وفي الحديث إن الروح القدس نفث في روعي أنه لن تموت نفس حتى تستكمل رزقها. That the Prophet ﷺ said, it was revealed to him that a person will not die, a soul will not die unless it is completely attained its provision, right? So whatever is meant to come to you in the dunya is going to come to you. You're not going to die before it. Like Imam Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah, he said when he heard the ayat, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ, when Allah told me that my rizq is in the sama, my provision is in the sama, and I will get what I'm promised, I didn't fear about wealth after that, hearing that ayat anymore, right? Because he knew the rizq is in the hands of Allah. So he knew he would only try to achieve rizq, provision, through the halal means, right? Because if it's guaranteed it's going to come to you, you're going to be patient and do it the right way, through the halal way, or you're going to be impatient and do it the haram way. If you're patient and do it the halal way, you have blessings in that same rizq. And if you do it in the haram way, you will be losing the blessings, right? So how many people, they go and take loans, for example, and get in debt into riba, and they're just living a cycle of being in debt. All they do is live paycheck to paycheck, trying to pay their bills for a car they really didn't need, like a fancy car, or a huge home they didn't really need, or some other like extravagance that they didn't necessarily have to get at the time. The newest this, the newest that, the latest model of this. When they're going to debt and getting their money from haram to live improperly, right? So there's no blessings in their time. Like we think, we should think that with all these innovations in technology, that our lives should be easier. We should have more time to do other things. But subhanAllah, it's almost the opposite. You see, the scholars, for example, they never had Google. We can Google anything and get any book in the world just like that, right? They had to go and make a journey for sometimes a month to get one hadith. But look at the amount of works they achieved and they gave us, and compared to that which is in modern times. You might have access, like we said, to all the books of hadith, but look how many good works have come out. To this day we still reference the Kutub al-Sitta. Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Ibn Dawood, Ibn Majah, An-Nasa'i, right? Muwatta, the Imam Malik, Riyadh al-Salihin, the Imam Nawawi. All the books of fiqh that are marja that we go back to were all done in the past, where they didn't have none of this technology. But they had barakah in their waqt, they had barakah in their time, they had blessings in their time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them this beautiful gift, right? So one has to be careful to earn from the halal. He has to be careful to use his time in the halal means, so Allah will increase your blessings in it, and you can achieve more. وقد تقدم الأثر الذي ذكره أحمد في كتاب الزهد أنا الله إذا رضيت باركت وليس لبركتي منتهى وإذا غضبت لعنت ولعنتي تدرك السابع من الولد. He said, talking about the barakah, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you, He will give you blessings, He will bless you. And there's no end to His blessings. But if Allah is upset with you, or He gets upset with a person, He curses that person even to the 7th generation of his offspring. So, rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is where we get the blessings from, having the pleasure of Allah. وقد تقدم أن العمر أو عمر العبد هو مدة حياته ولا حياة لمن أعرض عن الله واشتغل بغيره. And we said, the Imam was saying, we mentioned in the previous chapter that the year of a servant, the life of a servant, his years in this earth, is the one that he was obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the Imam, as he explained earlier, he doesn't count the life that when you turn away from Allah. When أعرض عن Allah. Whoever turns away from Allah, he doesn't count that time period for his life. That's lost time that we can never get back. But the time that you spent worshiping Allah, getting closer to Allah, that's time that's going to be blessed and carried for you forever in the akhirah. Right? That's something that's what your life counts for. All the other part, the Imam is saying, doesn't really count for your life. It's a loss. He's saying, حياة البهائم خير من حياتي. So the life of the animals are better than the life of the one who turns away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فإن حياة الإنسان بحياة قلبه وروحه ولا حياة لقلبه إلا بمعرفة فاطره ومحبته وعبادته وحده والإنابة إليه. He's saying that the life of a person is in the life of his heart and his soul. And there's no life in his soul except by knowing your Creator, فاطره, and loving your Creator, and worshipping your Creator. You're worshipping your Creator alone, and turning back to your Creator, making repentance to Him. وَالطَّمَأْنِينَ بِذِكْرِهِ, and having an ease of the heart by remembering Him. وَالْأُنْسُ بِقُرْبِهِ, and having like a comfort to be close to Him, close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. مَنْ فَقَدَ هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةِ فَقَدَ الْخَيْرُ كُلُّهُ. And whoever loses his hayat, this life, his blessings of being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has lost his life, all his life. There's no good in his life. وَلَوْ تُعْرَضْ عَنْهَا بِمَا تُعْرَضْ بِمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا بَلْ لَيْسَتِ الدُّنْيَا بِأَجْمَعِهَا عَوَّضًا عَنْ هَذِهِ الْحَيَاةِ. So he's saying, like, if you turned it away from because of the dunya, the whole dunya together is not equal to this hayat of the ruh, of the being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? If you have this relationship with your Lord, this closeness to your Lord, the whole dunya and everything in it is not equal that. Like the Prophet ﷺ, he said, رَكَعَتَيْ الْفَجْرِ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا وَمَا فِيهَا. 2 rak'ahs of the sunnah prayer of Fajr are greater than the dunya and everything in it. This is the barakah, this is the stuff that's going to count. And Allah Azza wa Jal, he said, or the Prophet ﷺ said about Allah, that it's not worth even the wing of a fly in His sight, the whole dunya. This is the reality. The good deeds is what counts. That's what the barakah is in. And he's saying that, if you lose things from the dunya, you can get it back. It's not a big deal. But if you lose things in the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can never get that back. That minute you lost in your life that you didn't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can never get it back. That minute that you were sinning against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and losing your time, you can never get it back. So he's saying, never sacrifice the dunya for the akhirah. Never sacrifice something that is temporal and finite and fleeting for something that is permanent and everlasting and beautiful. Like only a fool would say, I'll trade you, this used, beat up, hoopty car for, and this is from dunya comparison, for like a brand new Ferrari, for example, right? No one's gonna trade it. Doesn't make any sense. Or I'll trade you this shack, this broken down shack, for the greatest mansion on the earth. No one will trade it. So how would one trade the dunya for the akhirah? Right? Why would you give up the akhirah that has everything no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard, no one has even ever imagined? Like the most beautiful things you can imagine. The akhirah is better than that. The greatest pleasure you can ever achieve in the earth, the akhirah in Jannah is better than that. Right? So no matter what you have in the dunya, it's not worth to sacrifice the akhirah for it. And those in the hellfire, they will say that if they had the dunya and everything in it to exchange to get out of the hellfire, they would do it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked them for something simpler than that. So it shows us we should see with the light of the wahi when we analyze things and see where the barakah comes from. and see the reality of the dunya. If you think about that picture, that it's not worth the wing of a mosquito or a wing of a fly in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, think how worthless it is. And yet people kill for it and get greedy for it and fight over it and have hatred over it and sacrifice their lives for it, and it's running away from them. But the akhirah, it's permanent, it's, you can never go wrong in seeking it, that's waiting there, they forget about it. So one must get the priorities right to achieve the barakah. So وَإِنَّمَا كَانَتْ مَعْصِيَةُ اللَّهِ بِسَبَبًا لِمَحْقِ بَرَكَ الرِّزْقِ وَالْأَجَلِ. So sinning against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will decrease the provision of rizq and the lifespan. Like we're saying, the Imam says, the lifespan he counts decrease in is the spiritual one. So if a person lives his whole life but doesn't worship Allah in it, or doesn't use that time for worshipping Allah or getting closer to Allah or doing righteousness, that time is wasted, he doesn't count it. So you're wasting life basically. لأن الشيطان موكل بها وبأصحابها فلسلطانه عليهم وحوالته على هذا الديوان وأهله وأصحابه. So he's saying that the dunya is left for the shaitan, like that's his abode, that's his sphere, right? So if a person turns away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's left into the care of the shaitan. وكل شيء يتصل به الشيطان ويقارنه فبركة ممحوقة. And anything that touches the shaitan or close to the shaitan, the barakah in it is erased, it's lost. There's no barakah in it. وكل ما نسب So وكل شيء لا يكون لله فبركة منزوعة. And anything that's not related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, its blessings is taken away. فإن رب هو الذي يبارك وحده. For verily the Lord is the only one who gives blessings, who gives barakah. والبركة كله منه. والبركة كلها منه. That all the blessings come from Allah. As we said, the Prophet said, البركة من Allah. Blessings is from Allah. وكل ما نسب إليه مبارك. And everything that's connected to Allah is blessed. فكلامه مبارك. His speech is blessed. ورسوله مبارك. His prophets are blessed. وعبده المؤمن النافع لخلقه مبارك. And the believing person who is beneficial to the creation is mubarak, has blessings. وبيته الحرام مبارك. And his house in Mecca is mubarak. And also he's saying Sham, like we said, is blessed. And Yemen. So anything that is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is considered mubarak. وكلما بعد عن نفسه من الأعيان والأقوال والأعمال فلا بركة فيها. And anything that goes away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of speech or actions or physical entities that are away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فلا بركة فيها. There's no barakah in it, there's no blessings in it. So one should have that mentality. Those that are attached to Allah, or those things that are close to Allah, those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that has blessings in it, we want to get close to that. We want to do as much of that as possible. And those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to stay away from, it has no barakah in it, so we should stay away from it. Like the Imam says now, وَضِدُّ الْبَرَكَةِ الْلَعْنَةِ. And the opposite of barakah is cursed. Curse from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأَرْض لَعْنَهَ اللَّهُ أو الشخص لعنه الله أو عملا لعنه الله أبعد شيء من الخير والبركة. So any person that Allah has cursed, or any land that Allah has cursed, or any action that Allah has cursed, is away from Allah's barakah. And we didn't mention that earlier, but there are certain lands, for example, that Allah has cursed. Like the Prophet ﷺ, when he approached the land where one of the peoples before us were destroyed, he said we shouldn't go through it, except that we should be crying and we should go through it quickly. We shouldn't stay there. You shouldn't drink from its wells either, because that's where the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended upon it. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes certain actions and he says, the Prophet says it's cursed, or Allah says it's cursed, then you know that action has no barakah in it. You should stay away from it. وكل وقت عصيت الله فيه أو مال عصى الله به أو بدن أو جاه أو علم أو عمل فهو على صاحبه ليس له فليس له من عمره وماله ووقته وجاهه وعلمه وعمله إلا ما طاع الله به. So he's saying that anything that you sin with against Allah with, in terms of your body or your wealth or your time or your actions, then that is a loss for you, and it's all against you. And anything you do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of your body, your mind, your wealth, your time, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you blessings in it, and you'll be blessed in that. ولهذا فمن الناس من يعيش في هذه الدار 100 سنة أو نحوها ويكون عمره لا يبلغ 10 سنين أو نحوها. He's saying for that reason there are certain people who live in this earth for 100 years or more, right? And they won't count from that whole 100 years except about 10 years. كما أن منهم من يملك القناطير المقنطرة من الذهب والفضة ويكون ماله في الحقيقة لا يبلغ 1000 درهم أو نحوها. And he's saying also, for example, there are certain people that have, let's say, billionaires or millionaires, multi-millionaires. They have so much money, but it only counts as like $1,000 because there's no barakah in the money. وفي ترمذي أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الدنيا ملعونة ما فيها إلا ذكر الله وما ولاه وعالم ومتعلم. That the dunya and everything in it is cursed except the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that which is related to it and the scholar and the student of knowledge. Okay? So everything else is removed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings except these things that's related to the dhikr of Allah, right? That is related to seeking knowledge. That's where the barakah is. That's what we should strive for. Right? And just a brief point in terms of seeking knowledge, you know, the real barakah and the real blessings, like alhamdulillah, if you don't have no time, you can only get to the books and you can only watch YouTube or, for example, other lectures on the internet, alhamdulillah, that's khair. But to achieve like the full reward of the hadith the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, it's better to sit in the majalis of dhikr or the sittings of the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the sittings of the knowledge, because the angels surround you, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy descends upon it. It doesn't say like if you're sitting at your home reading a book, that is a bab of khair, you get blessings for it inshallah. But if you want to achieve like the full blessings, like we're trying to increase our barakah, you go to the halaqat. You know, in your going to it, the Prophet ﷺ said that the fish in the sea make dua for you, the ants in the earth make dua for you, right? What a great blessing. That's just on your way to the halaqah, to the seeking knowledge. And then when you sit in the halaqat of ilm, the angels come down and wrap you in their wings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy descends upon you. Your hearts are put at ease, right? These are like the blessings, the barakah, the unseen that we don't see, that are in these, inshallah, majalis al-dhikr, or majalis of remembering Allah or seeking the knowledge to worship Allah correctly. You know, this is the barakah. And to end, one of the points I didn't mention, one of the ways to achieve barakah also is to offer the salat wa salam ala nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Right? One of the Sahabas, he came to him and said, how much portion of the extra prayers that I make for you, or the extra prayers should I do for you? You know, and the Prophet ﷺ said, as you wish. And he said, I will make like a third of my extra salawat or extra dua for you. You know, and the Prophet ﷺ said, that is great, and if you do more, it's better. So he said, I will make half of my extra dua for you. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, that is great, and if you do more, it's better. He said, I will make 2/3. You know. And then he gets to the point, I said, the Prophet said, that is great, if you do more, it's better. And he said, I will make all my extra dua for you. And the Prophet said, if you do that, then Allah will take care of all your dunya affairs and forgive your sins. Or forgive your sins and take care of all of your affairs. Right? So another means of achieving barakah, we said taqwa, we said iman, we said the Quran, we said the salat, bil-layl, wal-nas, wal-niyam, and the salat ala nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Right? These are some of the ways we can increase our barakah. And we said to keep the relationship of the womb and giving sadaqah. Inshallah. So these are some of the keys to increase our barakah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in it. And inshallah next week we'll continue with the next chapter of how sinfulness will lower the ranks of people. Jazakumullah khair. If there's any questions, tafaddalu.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
What are some signs that we have barakah in our life? Or how can we tell the lack of barakah in our life?
So, some of the signs that you have barakah is that, like we mentioned, that you will have more productivity in your time, right? So, you'll find that you have extra time to do extra stuff. And you find the more you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you do the things you're supposed to do, Allah will give you like extra time to do other things. There's like a direct correlation. And otherwise, if a person indulges in sinfulness, they lose the barakah of their time. First, just doing that sinful act in itself, that's time lost, right? You can never regain. And then sometimes the scholars say that they will be kept preoccupied with irrelevant things, not able to achieve the more important things. So those are some of the signs. And if you see that, then you gotta check yourself and find out, what am I doing wrong? if you find that you used to memorize so much of the Quran each day, or you used to reread so many of these books each day, and then all of a sudden you stopped, you're not able to read it, go back and check yourself, like, what's going on, what am I doing wrong, where is my time going, right? And sometimes you might find, oh, this is, my mistake I'm making, inshallah, I'll try to leave that with the help of Allah, and, go back to my schedule. Also, forcing yourself to stick to the ibadat, the good deeds that you used to do, is a means to bless your time. So like you have a certain book, you try to read, or a certain time you try to read every night, you don't leave it. So that time is blessed, inshallah, so you can increase your productivity. Or you want to memorize a certain portion of the Quran, that's your goal each day. You won't finish your day until you memorize that certain portion of the Quran, or a certain number of hadith, for example. So these are means, inshallah, to increase your barakah, and likewise, those tricks that you should, if you're doing something wrong, to avoid it, so you can not fall in that trap of losing barakah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك